Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Tonight's video has a special guest, Mr. Gregory.
Hi.
This is his first time on camera, so he's a little nervous, so
Very much.
it'll be fun. I wanted to give you a bit of a backstory for Greg because I shared a lot of information that made him look like a pretty crappy person, and in 2007 you were.
Very much so.
But not so much anymore, and I kind of want to give you a comparison of like what he was then, what he is now, how he got there, and just some of the behaviors he exhibited then.
That's the idea anyway.
In 2007, I don't even know that. Greg has growth hormone deficiency. Like, he looks incredibly young, and he's really short. He's my size. I'm 5'1", so I'm not very big either. But he had that, how did that affect your life?
I was always the smallest in my class. There was never a time where I was the biggest for anything. And it was weird. Like, I didn't get bullied too bad, but there were definitely a couple. And people will treat you differently when you're short. Like, they just automatically treat you like a child.
Yeah. A lot of the times people just, they underestimate him. Like, your intelligence, your skill, it's crazy. But, so that is something that kind of shaped his personality a little bit. But I think the biggest factors were 3 undiagnosed mental illnesses. So it was antisocial personality disorder, autism spectrum disorder, and ADHD.
It's a lot.
It's ASPD, ASD. Oh, I don't know. It's too many letters.
And word salad.
So.
Or letter soup? I forget what it is.
It doesn't matter. Just relax. So I want to give a little bit of an explanation as to what each of these disorders are and how they manifested for him. There's going to be symptoms that I don't mention or whatnot because they just don't relate to him. So we're going to start with the first one because that's the biggest one. So antisocial personality disorder. Can you tell me what symptoms you showed or like what it is for you?
Well, the most detrimental one was probably the stealing. Every time I walked into a store, I stole something for no reason. I didn't need it, didn't really want it. It was
had money in his pocket,
yeah,
didn't care.
I have 4 arrests for I think the grand total of all items together is $70. One of them's them $4.20. One of them's $7, and I did jail time for these things. And I still have to really consciously stop myself from stealing.
I've had to have conversations with him because it'll just be second nature. And for me, it's no, I can't do that anymore. But I used to. And that's actually one of the symptoms of ASPD is the criminal versatility. So you are a criminal in a few areas. So stealing, drug dealing, drug using, all that good stuff.
Yeah. And my height kind of played into that. People underestimated me, but that also gave me a chance to then use my intelligence and beat them out of whatever I wanted to, or trick them, or charm them, or whatever.
Yeah, because people underestimated him, they never saw it coming. Yeah. I didn't see it coming. I didn't even realize what it was until after we broke up, and I was like, what the fuck was that last year of my life? So it's also a total disregard for other people. There's a lack of empathy, a lack of remorse.
Yeah, and the empathy thing is twofold. ASD and ASPD, it's 2 things that are characterized by a large lack of empathy. So I literally just didn't care.
Yeah, the lack of empathy is a little bit different for each one. So for the antisocial personality disorder, it's complete cold uncaring. And for autism, it's an inability to pick up on social cues, so you miss out on this empathy because you can't read it.
Right.
So in social situations, he's learned that he gets very anxious, he doesn't like talking to people, he can't make eye contact.
I misunderstand people, I just miscues and upset people way too often because
he doesn't know when to stop. Like, he will have a conversation and he thinks that it's going well, but he's really pissing the person off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, usually when I'm with him, I try to cut in and interject and diffuse the situation, or at least add some context for the other person, because sometimes you can just go.
And it's like, I take everything very literally and logically, and miss jokes or just tell somebody they meant to get one answer from me, and I just completely
like literally like literal. I can't think of any examples right now, but oh my gosh, sometimes it's just like, no,
So
that was a figure
dumb.
of speech.
Yeah.
And then the ADHD, that just kind of, that manifests less often, but more so when the other ones are like really
When
out
I
of
get
control.
overwhelmed, like it's twofold. Like ASD, you have like fidgeting behaviors too that kind of calm you. So for me, the like pacing is also big for ADHD and ASD. I never sit down. Like, I do everything standing up, and people are constantly like, sit down, and I'm just like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then I just walk around.
Yeah, like when he eats, he grazes at his food, and then he'll forget it. He'll get a popsicle out and then forget it, and it'll melt on the counter. And there's a yogurt downstairs that he forgot about.
I threw it away.
But so ADHD has the impulsivity, the constant moving, the hyperactivity, and a tendency to seek out stimulating experiences like drugs, like stealing, like anything
new and exciting, and also like of the senses. Like, that's very much what makes me happy and what I get enjoyment out of. So
he's a very tactile person. Like, smells are a big thing. Like, our son has just been diagnosed with sensory processing disorder, which is kind of like a precursor or related to autism. I'm not 100% on this, so don't quote me, but
shares some characteristics, but may not have some of the ones that define autism.
Yeah, so he is a sensory seeker, which is much like Greg, and that means that he didn't get enough stimulation from his environment, so he acts out in different ways, and it manifests in different behaviors. Yeah, so I wanted to kind of talk about how you felt. Like, when I first met you, I was just smitten. Like, I was charmed. You were very charming and new, and he was very damaged, and it was obvious, so then that gave me something to focus on so that I didn't have to focus on myself. But what did you think when we, like...
I mean...
I don't think I've told him the full story of, like, how we met, so you can tell him how you met me.
Oh, man. I was not in the best place at that time. Like, when I don't really go to parties, but this was like maybe the 5th party I've ever gone to, and didn't have much going for me. Selling drugs, just kind of, I don't even know where I was living. Like,
I think you were back at your mom's temporarily.
Yeah.
He literally started living with me like a week later.
Yeah.
Like a couple days after the party, I picked him up. It was a big snowstorm, so he stayed the night, and then he just never left. And when I say we took things fast, I mean we took things fast. But there was also a lot of like passion and intimacy, something that with your disorder, or how I noticed it, like the routines, you had a hard time letting go of Molly.
Right.
And that was just a big part of your life. So you were trying to get used to this new environment, a new situation, new relationship.
Establish a new routine, and routines are, I've come to realize, a very like key thing. Like, if I understand what the routine is, I can kind of figure out how to deviate from it without getting upset
and making like your anxiety worse and stuff like that.
Routine interruption is real bad.
Yeah, and so he gave examples to me in his childhood. He went to this same friend's house every day for 2 months, and then he would go to a new friend's house every day for 2 months.
Yeah.
So ending a long-term relationship was difficult, and he was able to literally bounce between these relationships. It's like he's a psychopath, like, seriously. And I love him because he's worked on all of this stuff, but like, this is the kind of guy you don't want to date. And I dated him for a very long time, and we've worked through all that stuff.
You're the only one that has seen me as a good boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like, and
every other girl was not. Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. But so when you were with me, it was like, all you focused or cared about was me, and then when you were with Molly, it was like you just flipped, and he could go into these situations and just kind of
whatever is in front of me is like all that can exist in my mind. Like I can very easily just forget about whatever's not right there.
Yeah, and so the cheating was a big thing. The lying, like
Part goes that's ASPD, just like never dealing with the situation in a way that like is good. It's always just however you can get out, you do it.
yeah.
Like, if I don't know, get the most you can from that person, like make yourself, you know what I mean? Just how much can I get until
What can you
they
do for
stop?
me, and how much can you benefit me, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it until you are fucking over it, because you couldn't tell, and you didn't care, and it's a very interesting dynamic. But when we got back together, I want to talk about this now a little bit, but I want to tell it in the story. So in our series, I'll go over like after getting out of jail, prison for him, and us getting back together. But I just want to talk about where you were mentally at that point. Like, don't talk about us. Like, where were you at after your 2.5 years in prison? Do you feel like you had progressed from 2007 to then?
Oh, for sure. Like, prison was definitely like a timeout, a vacation. I was very much like I was gonna fix myself. Like, I was gonna figure out at least like how to what skills I needed to like use to navigate life. Like I had learned nothing up until the time I went to prison, basically.
Yeah, and when you go to prison or jail, you learn the value in going to work, the freedom to go to work. Like, it's such a privilege, and it makes it a lot easier if you have the opportunity to come home and find a job and find employment quickly. It's pretty easy to go into that because you're excited to do something.
Yeah, it's like finally.
Yeah, but most of the time people have a very hard time finding employment, and that sucks. But for you had a job that you were able to go to pretty quick. You found it quickly.
Yeah, almost. I think I had it lined up before I went down there.
Yeah.
But like I worked out every day. I meditated every day. I did yoga every day.
That's not so hard.
Sorry. And it helped me. It helped me quiet my brain.
It also gave you a new routine, and then you still had a lot of learning, I guess, emotionally, as far as recognizing other people's. I think that you can only recognize my emotions. I don't think that you would be able to enter another relationship and have.
I would have to learn. Like even now, I'm not like 100%.
Yeah.
I could be better.
Our story, where we're at, I'm about to start the Williamsport story. So when we got arrested, Molly was still in the picture, and she was there for a little bit longer, and then I think she started dating someone else.
She got over it. She was like, this is not worth the energy.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
And she was smarter than I was, but so at the point when we were arrested, we were good in a good relationship part. Mostly, I think, because we were stable. We were in a stable environment. It wasn't healthy. It was our drug dealer was living with us, but we had drugs all the time. We didn't have to worry about money. We didn't have to worry about anything. So it really helped us be able to spend time together, doing things together, and building us. And then when we went to Williamsport, that's when I think we really relied on really relied on each other to survive. So, is there anything you want to add about how you? Oh, the thing about ASPD is that it can lessen with time. Not for everyone. Some people will get so ingrained in those behaviors that it's hard to change. And it was hard for you to change.
I think prison was the start of the turning point, but it wasn't until 2
years. It was when you lost your sister.
Yeah.
And then Emerson was born a month later. And that is the first time I saw him feel, really, really feel it. And after losing Jenna, I would say it was 1 to 2 years?
It was like a year.
Was it a year that we had that breakthrough?
Yeah.
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 And that's when everything really started to get better, all around. And we were able to heal from the infidelities, and the cheating definitely happened after we got back together on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, honey. I think that we have a very interesting story. A lot of people don't understand, but I think a lot of people also get the wrong impression.
I don't have to care.
You don't care, yeah. I must be nice, but
It
for
is.
me, I'm worried that people are going to see us and think like, "Oh, I can stay with this guy. Like he can change." This is
Probably not. It took so much effort for me to like make
Yeah.
an effort. I don't know.
I
It was
think that
tough.
I was also like the kind of person that was willing to invest that much emotionally.
Well,
Like,
and you are psychologically trained,
Yeah.
so it's helpful to like bounce ideas off of you and work on myself.
yeah, and I have a thing for psychopaths, so my biggest fear is that my son is going to be one. So it's on the internet now. If it does happen, I called it.
We're trying very hard to like.
Yeah, he's in occupational therapy, and we're working on a whole bunch of things. I will be making content about that soon, but
As long as he's not as messed up as I am, we're good.
I mean, he's so smart. They just drew pictures of a bunny, a character named Simon. I'm going to include a picture, lean out. I'll include a picture right here. And he's not even 3 yet, and he can follow instructions enough
Not
to
even
draw
3
a
though?
bunny. Is
Not
he
even
3?
4?
Yeah, not even 4. I don't know. I don't know. I forget how old I am.
I forget how old I am a lot. I'm 30.
So I'm 32. I thought I was 33. Shit. I'm pretty
It's a
sure
happy surprise.
I'm pretty sure I've been telling people 33. Anyway, that's all for this video. I will pick up with our Williamsport story next, and that one is dark.
Yeah.
But I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.